All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for coming. Thank you, Jim, for kind of opening up some of the partnership discussion that we're going to get into a little bit more now. I'm here to talk today about a program, really a series of programs that AWS has we call our go-to-market program. So generally, we're trying to set up ways to help startups engage with AWS and Amazon to help them be successful in their go-to-market efforts. So we'll talk through what we define as GTM, go-to-market, number of the programs we have, and hopefully answer some of the basic questions you might have. So first off, my name is Ryan Kiskis. I'm on the Startup Business Development team here with AWS. Been here about 4.5 years. Most of my background is as a product leader and entrepreneur, 4 different startups along the way. Some have been more successful than others, some a little bit less so. But been in some of the shoes that probably many of you are in the past. Don't know if you guys have seen this yet. This is kind of a quick overview of AWS Startup BD. It's about 60 people globally. We try and hit all the major startup markets around the world. A lot of these folks are former founders, former entrepreneurs, former VCs, or A&I program directors. We really try and bring in people who have, again, been in the shoes and understand the startup experience and what everyone is going through to try and actually be helpful for you guys. We engage with about 4,000 VC firms and accelerators around the world, and through them to their portfolio companies. If any of you are backed by one of the firms you work with, or one of the firms we work with, perhaps you've been in touch with some of our team in the past. These are some of the programs and companies our team has worked with over the last couple years. I know a number of top VCs, both here in the Valley and around the world. We try and be generally available as much as possible to entrepreneurs to help them with their journey. There's only so many of us, and there's a lot of startups. I think you saw about 30,000 startups that we work with globally at any given time, or rather we have some engagement with at any given time. So we are still spread pretty thin. AWS is still spread pretty thin, but we're trying to do as much as we can. Big things that we deploy are the AWS Activate program. You may be familiar with, provides bundle of benefits, credits, resources, technical support for early stage companies. We'll also set up technical office hours, mentor office hours with those folks on the team who may act as mentors to some of the startups we engage with, as well as if we get to know you individually or personally as an entrepreneur, as a founder, and our connections into the VC, angel, accelerator community can be helpful. We'll try and open that up, as well as connect into the rest of Amazon. We are AWS is something probably many of you are familiar with, being here at the AWS Loft, but obviously Amazon is a massive organization, and we try and facilitate those type of connections as much as possible. So what is GTM? What am I here to talk about today? You just heard Jim talk for a fair bit about some of the challenges startups have with engaging with large companies. And for a number of years, we would try and facilitate these connections for the entrepreneurs and companies we met with to connect into Amazon, either AWS or Amazon.com. And we saw a lot of those same challenges. It's a large organization. It can be difficult to work with. And so we said, well, what can we actually do? How can we streamline that process? How can we do things that will make it easier for all of you to actually engage with Amazon? Because there are thousands of individuals across the company who would love to do more and help out and engage with startups, but they struggle to find the ways and the mechanisms to do it. And so we're looking at where there are assets that Amazon.com has, either as part of their business, programs they have, where can we bring those to bear to help startups gain traction? Probably many of you are familiar with this. Why does traction matter? I mean, it's really, you ask startups what the primary concerns are, and it usually falls into 3 camps: capital, acquiring talent, and acquiring customers. And so when we did a survey of 1,585 startups and major accelerators, 32% of those listed customer acquisition of those as the #1 pain point, actually ahead of fundraising. And so, again, we looked at the organization and said, well, what can we do to help alleviate this problem? Just talk to that. So how do we do this? It's actually, the GTM umbrella, as it were, is a series of programs that either our team has set up or we've set up in collaboration with the rest of Amazon.com. Again, designed to help you guys gain traction. So I'm going to run you through a handful of these now. These are all live and available today. We have a number more that are sort of in development and a little bit earlier stage. But I want to touch on some of these as examples of what we can potentially do. So the first one to touch on is Amazon LaunchPad. So LaunchPad is a collaboration with the Amazon.com Marketplace. Do any of you sell or any of you building physical products? Sort of, hardware, consumer devices, doesn't even have to be high tech per se, handful. One thing that we saw is that a lot of folks would obviously want to sell on Amazon. It's a great marketplace, hundreds of millions of customers. But they, in terms of engaging with, say, the right category manager, finding the right person to talk to at Amazon to get listed, especially as a very early stage company, was quite challenging. And so the Amazon.com retail organization set up this new storefront called Amazon LaunchPad. It's designed to curate a selection of cutting edge, newer technology products, mostly consumer targeted. There's some other ones that are maybe more business targeted, but generally anything that you might sell on Amazon.com that is forward thinking that a startup would generally try and create is potentially a listed product specifically in LaunchPad. And we're targeting a particular audience, particular set of visitors to Amazon.com to reach the LaunchPad site. Those who are interested in these type of products might be early adopters. And so for VC and A&I backed companies, we have a streamlined channel into the LaunchPad program to help you get up and running, get listed on LaunchPad, which is really seen as an entry point over the longer run to the broader Amazon.com marketplace. For those of you who are, again, backed by some of the partners we work with, we've arranged special placement, promotions, marketing collateral materials that the LaunchPad team has put together to help you, again, get up there, get running, and hopefully get some customers off of Amazon.com. There is if you search for Amazon LaunchPad, there's actually a pretty straightforward application form that you can fill out with some information about your business that goes straight to that team. If any of us on the Startup BD, if you've maybe tried that or you're interested in that and haven't had a chance to do it yet, any of us here on the Startup BD team today can also help point you in that direction, and then we can make sure that at least your application gets seen by the team evaluating these for potential listing in LaunchPad. Another one, Jim touched on it briefly, is Alexa. Many of you probably familiar with Alexa, the Echo devices, Echo Dot, Echo Tap, the Echo itself. Again, a question we really commonly got from a lot of entrepreneurs was, well, I'm interested in Alexa. I'm interested in potentially integrating into my application or utilizing it somehow. How do I do that? Yeah, there's some documentation there, but can you guide me? Can you help me get through this process a little bit more? And so we went and sat down with the Alexa team and said, well, how do we set up, again, a better channel for us to connect potential entrepreneurs into you guys? And so they said, all right, we'll set aside some time from the Ask team, which is Alexa Skills Kit team. They're the ones who are building the tooling and software that most startups or entrepreneurs will be picking up to build with Alexa. Help set up time with folks on the business development team or engineering teams with Alexa voice services, as well as connections into the Alexa fund itself. So the Alexa fund is a $100 million fund designed to invest in companies that are building technologies that either are potentially relevant for the Alexa platform or are utilizing Alexa as a unique or interesting part of their product offering. And so these guys are getting actually very, very active in the overall community. And so we try and, any of the connections we might make, try and source interesting companies that could be relevant for them and their strategy on the Alexa fund and get them connected into those investors. Next one I want to talk about is actually a collaboration. It's an example of something we've set up with Facebook, and we hope is kind of a model for many other types of collaborations we might do as well. Facebook has a program not dissimilar in some ways to our Activate program, which they call FB Start. Again, designed to help out companies that are, again, a very early stage, VC accelerator backed, get up and running on the Facebook platform, in particular around Facebook ads. And so they have a somewhat new team, a somewhat nascent team. They're growing very quickly as well. But we set up a channel for us to be able to facilitate streamlined introductions to the FB Start team, and you generally use the qualification criteria that we have for Activate to be used as a qualification criteria for FB Start as well. So if you're getting up and running and you either potentially interested in the Facebook platform, haven't used their ad platform at all, depending on the kind of the where you're at in your life cycle, somewhere from $500 to up to $2,500 of ad credits available. $2,500 typically for VC or A&I backed companies as well. So again, really interesting way to help build, and obviously $2,500 in free credits to help build awareness for your company, for your product. Next one is AWS Marketplace. Marketplace is an AWS-specific marketplace for software and services that could be relevant to AWS customers. So you think about, as many of you as an AWS customer, as a developer, a CTO, a technologist, running AWS, you may think, well, hey, there may be some tool, some service, some piece of software technology that I need to make my life easier. The marketplace is a place to go to find that. For a long time, was very focused on, I guess, what I call sort of infrastructure or, in the tech stack software. So, do I need a different database? Do I need some security software? Recently, we've actually launched the ability to list SaaS business software in the marketplace as well, which we find is probably a very, very common area. I don't know if any of you are building SaaS businesses, but sort of B2B or enterprise-focused SaaS software can now be listed in the marketplace as well. And marketplace team, again, very interested and engaging. You see some big names up there like Box and NetApp and Cloud Health. But we're trying to get more early stage companies as part of this marketplace. Try and get you in there. Try and get some visibility. And so we've set up sort of unique special promotional opportunities in the AWS marketplace to get you listed above and beyond sort of the normal qualification criteria, which would be sales and traction as evidence there. And while we're on the topic of SaaS, sorry, a little bit out of order. I'm going to come back to this one in a second. I want to jump to the software subscriptions. So we're talking about AWS Marketplace. The Amazon.com Marketplace also sells SaaS software, which not a lot of folks are aware of. You normally think about Amazon selling products, is just where most of the awareness is, probably what we were talking about before earlier. But we also sell SaaS software. So obviously, many tens or millions of customers around the world in Amazon. Perhaps most relevant for some of you, over 200,000 small businesses, browsing and looking at the Amazon.com software subscriptions. So as opposed to the AWS Marketplace, which is a little bit more, technologist focused, you're going to see more developers coming to that marketplace. This is very much individual small business owners across a broad swath of typical SMB verticals. And they're looking for finance, accounting software, education, photo or video management, a variety of tools that they just need to go have ready to go out of the box. And so we again, have set up a streamlined way to get engaged with this team, get your SaaS products listed in the marketplace, get you up and running, and again, hopefully get you some customers and some traction via Amazon.com. I want to go back to what I skipped over, the Amazon Media Group. Again, a lot of things people don't necessarily know, but Amazon.com actually runs one of the largest ad display networks in the world. That's both on Amazon.com properties. So I have a good screenshot here. Not a great one here. If you actually go to Amazon.com now and you pull up the website, you actually see, you may not necessarily notice it because you're typically looking for product, but there's actually advertisement right on that site, as well as the entirety of Amazon.com, as well as a network of other sites that we've set up partnerships with. And so it's actually pretty broad reach. We've got relationships with many of the top 100 sites on the internet overall. And so you can use the AMG network as a way to go and advertise your products, again, on Amazon.com, as well as a broader network of sites across the internet, in the same way you might use a Google or a Facebook or another typical ad platform. We have a pilot for startups who are interested in testing with AMG. And basically, we'll set up a pilot to run a test campaign for you over the course of a couple weeks, and ensure that you're getting traction, get that funded for you, make sure it's interesting, and make sure it's actually delivering value. So this is another way, another bit of perhaps an unexpected or a bit more under the radar way to engage with Amazon.com. That we're setting up for early stage companies. Skip that one. These are a lot of, again, there's a lot of different businesses under the Amazon umbrella. Anything from Amazon Fresh to Twitch, Mechanical Turk's always kind of an interesting one. You know, login with Amazon, pay with Amazon, and we are actively engaging with a variety of these different business units. And one thing to understand with Amazon, it's a very decentralized organization. We actually pride ourselves on that. We pride ourselves in the independence of different business units to operate and move quickly and ideate and develop things for our customers. But it means there's a whole bunch of different people and a whole bunch of different motivations and goals to talk with. Some of these streamlined channels we've set up with some of these groups we'd like to replicate across the organization. And so one thing I'd ask actually, if there are other parts of Amazon that perhaps we didn't talk about today, or you think you've got something that could be highly relevant for, connect with either myself, one of us, the AWS team overall, and we'd like to hear some of those ideas. We'd like to bring examples to some of these other parts of Amazon about what they could do with startups. Again, there's a lot of interest in doing it. They're generally looking for how do we set something up? How can we set up something that's standard? It's ready to go. It's out of the box. It's easy for you to pick up and deploy. It's easy for them to pick up and deploy. You can avoid a lot of the one-off negotiation and everything that Jim was alluding to with typical engagements with other large businesses. So I think that's about it. There's my name, my email address. You can drop me an email. As well, again, connect with anyone on the team here. And I am happy to take any questions. Did you even say questions? No? Lost the Q&A. So, but questions from anyone? Yeah.
You kind of mentioned all the stuff you sell the software and obviously core business for Amazon. What about fulfillment?
So FBA? Another one of the groups we are actively talking with. It's a very natural fit. To some extent, one of the challenges or the things that come up is some of those groups actually have decent onboarding paths already for early stage companies, and so it isn't always, FBA is one of those that they've sort of already set up some things. We still think there's more we could do. We could make it easier. So stay posted is probably the best I could say. Yeah. We do, yeah. I mean, from a variety of different ways. Both in terms of AWS customers in the healthcare sector, those who are within AWS talking to other healthcare life sciences companies more broadly, whole bunch of different ways. Yeah, we could probably. What? Come to ping me after this and talk about kind of what you're up to, and I'll try and figure out the right team to connect you with. So, yeah. Yeah, the big one is promotional placements. So this is sort of the homepage of the Amazon.com subscription site. I actually mentioned the AMG network. One of the things we're also doing across the Amazon.com site is helping by the various targeting mechanisms available to us find the small businesses who may be visiting Amazon.com for their business. Maybe they're visiting Amazon.business, which is a product supply storefront. Maybe just individuals who via other means we know are small businesses, and drive them to this storefront, this site. Once they're there, you can't see it here in this screenshot, but if you click into these various verticals, there's a variety of promotional, higher placements, above the fold placements, bigger logo boxes, that sort of thing. That again, normally would be set up for high volume products within the marketplace, but we've got a connection with the team to try and get more startups into that as well. Yes, right here.
Do you need to be a specific size to be kind of listed here, or what kind of size SaaS company?
Yep. I would say part of the exercise is actually trying to get in touch with earlier stage companies, right? If you're sort of already up there and at scale and selling well, definitely get in touch as well, right? But in some ways, if you just go to this site, if you go to the subscription site, there's a contact us form on there. If you're big already, they're probably already going to talk to you already. Part of our goal is how can we get them folks that would otherwise be off the radar. I will say, again, we're trying to to look at some criteria to say, well, who does have something legitimate? Some of that might be your own product assessment. A big validation for us is, as I mentioned, accelerator membership or VC funding. Like if you've gone through those paths, someone else has done diligence on your business, they've given you sort of their thumbs of approval, their capital to put to work, it gives us a lot of confidence that you're really onto something and someone that we should go and push hard for with these teams as well. Sure. Yeah. Oh, microphone.
Just extending on that.
Yeah.
Regarding requirements, what if we're not, we haven't been through any accelerator because we really don't want to, but there's a clear way to see. Do you take that as VC investment or acceleration as a hard criteria, or just more tough?
It's that it's easy, right? So someone's already done it. We can definitely work with other companies. It's just a matter of getting in touch. I mean, the fact you're here, and I count at least 10 people from our Startup BD team here in the room, it's helpful, right? It gives you a chance to sit down with someone. We're gonna have to do some of our own digging, do some of our own diligence on there. We're not gonna necessarily say, send us your financial plan or anything like that, but we wanna take a view and say like, okay, that's what you're working on, interesting. There are many thousands of bootstrapped or small angel-backed companies that our team is engaged with, and has helped out in different ways. So yeah. Yes.
Just a quick technical question. Let's suppose we use your site to bring up our website and all that, and internally we have a requirement for interface engine, for example, HL7. Let's say we are displaying some sort of results or something like that. Would you be able to accommodate that in the background, or?
I'm not quite sure I'm totally following. So are you saying you say your own metrics are tracking to get visibility?
No, interface engine.
Okay.
Like HL7 protocol it's using to access different systems, for example.
Okay. Does it happen internally to your software, to your product?
Yeah, it sort of sends it out to different places to receive the results, for example, in that format, so that we can display it or something like that. Is that?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I probably have to get in touch with some of these teams, perhaps, to evaluate that. But yeah, you can come find me after. I'll give me my contact info. We'll try and find the right people. Anyone else? Yes. Trying to think how so. For AWS specifically, Amazon.com overall, or is it?
You had Amazon Fresh on there.
Yeah.
As a coffee company, and I'm trying to get them to sell coffee in places where there are more people.
I was just trying to think if there's any food or beverage on LaunchPad. I know there are food and beverage sort of related products, like the Soma water filter was on there for a while. So I'm not sure, to be 100% honest. We could take a look pretty quick and try and find out. So again, it's one of those areas where if it's not there today, an example is always helpful to bring to those teams and say, hey, here's a company that's interesting. What do you think about this? How does it fit into your strategy? So, sure. Yeah.
The last bullet is pilot $100,000 for marketing package.
Yes.
Can you elaborate on this?
Sorry?
Can you please elaborate on this? I'm not sure I really understand.
Yeah, so for other customers who are not coming through, say, our startup route, VC accelerator backed route, a lot of other normal SaaS products are interested in listening to the marketplace. And again, as part of that experience, if you click through it and you'll see it, there are promotional opportunities on that storefront. And so we do sell some of those placements, those opportunities for vendors who want to list in those places. We will, however, again, for startups for whom are just getting started, they may not have the cash available, we'd like to get some of that open to them. And so, again, there's some tiering within it, but the software subscriptions team has put together a package of up to $100,000 of those typical placements, what they would normally sell for $100K, to provide to the startups we work with. So again, typically VC and backed companies, there's some qualification criteria, but we want to put a lot of value in your hands, a lot of placement you wouldn't otherwise be able to get, to hopefully get some traction. Sure. Anyone else? Yes.
Does Amazon do anything with government procurement? I'm selling to federal and state government, and is running a flight to fix a program for that.
Sure. AWS has got actually a very significant federal, state, local government agency business. A couple thousand government agencies last I looked into the number. And actually if you've looked into it all, but AWS actually runs a separate, what we call Gov Cloud region, typically for those types of agencies. We actually have segments of the marketplace set up specifically for those customers and those clients. So definitely interesting. Probably something like the AWS Marketplace listing opportunities I was talking about would be potentially relevant for you if that's the type of organization you're targeting. So yeah, big potential customer base anyway. So. Anyone else? Cool, easy. Well, I'll be around for a bit. Anyone who wants to come up and chat with me afterward, let me know. And we really have a couple minutes before our next session. What does Mackenzie, the MC, say?
Yeah, actually we have a little bit of time to take a quick break, so I'm going to recommend something momentarily. But first, round of applause for Ryan. Thank you very much for taking the time.